All right, enough apologizing to you, the wimps who don't want to use samples. Screw the purists. All right, you probably are purists, so never mind. Anyway, all right, the first thing we want to do here is take a look at the new track I've done. Actually, let's listen to the old one. I monkeyed with it just a little bit with the real track here. And the best I could do, that ring, I cannot get that ring out without making the snare sound thin. And so I just went with a thin one, which I think I will use in the real track. And that's kind of something we'll cover later, is blended in the real tracks with the samples so that no one will actually know you use samples. But here's what I've got right now. And it just sounds like a little side stick trickaroo thing. It doesn't sound good at all. I mean, it doesn't sound like a snare. And we really do need that meat down there, and that meat is the problem. So I think that's a good lesson for me, is to never, ever, ever track a snare that's got that kind of ring in it. Of course, I knew that going in, and time, it was a mess. What are you going to do? All right. So I'm going to just mute that track and pull it all the way down. And now let's go to the fun stuff. I took about 1 minute, and 1 minute only. I don't have the triggering perfect, but I threw trigger on the snare. And again, in 1 minute, you saw me, I probably took 15 minutes in the last video just to find out I didn't like it. And here's the cool thing about trigger is, you know, at least I know I'm going to like it. And most people on earth know they're going to like it. Now, one thing I meant to do is turn the high pass filter up to about 200 or so. Okay, so again, we'll have a few flaws in it. It's not really ready for full-blown presentation, but you're not the drummer of the band, so I don't care. All right, let's take a listen and see where we are. Now, here's the thing. I freaking love that snare. I say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, what I've noticed is, and this is how I mix anyway, I think of the thing that pisses me off, and I shoot it, or I nuke it, whatever, I get rid of it. Well, and I'm suddenly not pissed off by this snare. In fact, I love it. Now, your tastes are going to be different and all that, and maybe you think the song should go a different route and all this crap. That's fine, too, and you can always use all those gadgets we were using on the snare top before on these samples here to manipulate them however you want to. You're still an engineer, and you still have all your tools in your belt. So there's nothing wrong with going in and tweaking. And Slate has all kinds of options. Like, one thing that I didn't love about Superior Drummer 2.0 was I couldn't get that wide stereo snare. And I don't mean wide and like this big fake thing. I just mean, what I mean is I really like the overheads on Superior Drummer 2.0. And so what I did, I made my own samples. Well, I stole them from Superior Drummer 2.0. Is that allowed? I'm doing it anyway. And I compressed them just a little bit. And so on another deal here, I can blend in. Let's see. I'll kind of show you guys this trick here. Okay, so all we're going to hear now is my Superior Drummer 2.0 overheads. And again, they're just overheads. And this particular one's been squashed. I have the unsquashed ones here. And as you can see, they're very, very stereo. And I like that. Sometimes in the Slate ones, of course, a lot of times that's caused by me using a mono track in Cubase and not realizing that makes the Slate samples mono, which is really does obviously kill their stereo width. So that's always, make sure you're always using stereo trigger. But I really didn't want to make this video about trigger, but what I wanted to show was just how fast I can get different sounds here. And I'm always a big fan of using the air conditioner snare here. And the minority snare, where is it? I don't know why they just don't call it an African American snare. I don't know why black is, you know, I don't know how politically correct you guys are. Okay, anyway, all right, so I'm gonna turn down my overhead, but then we have the option of here's our air conditioner snare. Oops, hang on, I goofed up. Okay, here's our air conditioner snare. You know, real old school and chunky, which is fun. All right, let's blend in the African American snare. All right, let's blend in the original snare. Why not? And screw it, let's put my overheads from Superior Drummer 2.0 in there. Again, I mean, this ain't right, and the snare's too loud now and all this stuff. But the point is with just without using our brains, and this is something I'm big on anyway, is when I can turn my brain off and just do something, just play guitar and rock, just smash something with a hammer. It almost always seems to go better than whenever I'm trying to do the Pythagorean theorem and all this business to get I'm gonna get this girl to like me. Let's do the Pythagorean theorem. That's never happened in the history of mankind. So there's something about just using your gut, and I like that where all I have to do is play with some volume faders and get some really cool sounds that inspire me. And there's a million different samples, so even if you don't love these, whatever. But what I notice in context is I don't really hear samples, I just hear rocking, I hear music. So I'm going to yank down the air conditioner snare and the African-American snare and just play at these two, because that's usually kind of my system, is just and that's what's kind of funny is of this whole sample business, is when you're used to fighting, let's turn trigger off and going back to the real snare again. When you're used to that, all of a sudden, the very first sample you hear in trigger, and this is that way with almost any sample library, you go, whoa! And you'll get guys on forums going, oh, those samples are awful. And I'm like, are you kidding? Have you recorded a real drum set in your closet of a house? Or live room, I mean, it's a weird world we live in. But anyway, so I highly recommend you look at these samples. But anyway, we don't really have to do anything else. I mean, I'm going to get a quick mix here, which will take 10 seconds. Let's do it. And by using the Superior Drummer overheads, which I guess I like a little bit more overhead sound than what they've given us in the stock Slate samples. The Slate samples do have overheads in them. I mean, obviously, they have a 3D-ness to them. But I want more 3D. That just turns my crank. But what's funny is trying to get that kind of 3D-ness by triggering real overheads in a real room done right is just so hard to fake. And we could go through all the trouble of faking this. But what we have right now is a snare that sounds like it's in a real room somewhere. And that's a huge deal to me. We have this big, wide 3D thing. It doesn't sound like a close mic that was 1 inch from a snare drum. So take a listen to that aspect. Listen to the 3D-ness of the sound. And that, by far, is the hardest part to fake when it comes to samples. With using the real drums, is getting, if we've ditched everything real, like the overheads and room mics, what's left? Well, not a whole lot. And so this is one reason where these samples have really come into their own, and why they're so damn good, is because they've got the real room sound, which we don't have to spend hours faking, and it does take hours for that to do it properly. So anyway, you can see I'm excited. I really, really like this trigger business. More importantly, I like the fact that I got something I'm really happy with that makes the song, I can already tell these drums are more powerful, and not have to pull out my calculator and, what was some of the junk I was doing on that snare top. Like, take a look. Just playing around at the end, I started doing multi-band gating and trying to get that ring out without, I don't know. It just becomes such a complex, stupid thing that it's no longer intuitive anymore. Okay, so if you guys aren't using Trigger or Drumagog, either one are fine. I like Trigger better, but Drumagog's still a useful tool. If you guys aren't using one of those, I highly recommend you download the demo and try it. Give it a shot and see. And I'm positive by the end of this thing that you will say, we can't tell those drums are sampled other than the fact they sound good. Ooh, excuse me. So let's see how it goes, but definitely give it a shot.